Hello, my dear students. I hope everyone is doing well today. So, as what I have promised, I made a video for our lessons. This is to solve the connectivity issues that we have, not only to the students but also to the teacher as well. So, for this video, I'll be discussing to you the first lesson that we have. So if you can still recall, in the self-instructional manual that I discussed to you, that the unit learning outcomes or ULO for week 1 and to 3 includes uh, two ULOs. No? Merong dalawang ULO or unit learning outcomes for week 1 to 3. And yung unang-unang unit learning outcome will be discussed in this particular video. So our first lesson of this subject, ACCBP 100 Accounting Plus, is all about business management, or should I say business and management concepts. So in this particular lesson, you are expected to be able to discuss the nature of business and its relationship to management. So here we will learn the importance of business and bakit ba or in what way nakakonektado yung business sa management. Okay, so let's start. So ano ba yung business? For sure, all of you already know what a business is. Tama? Technically, business is defined as an organization or entity engaged in commercial, industrial, or professional activities. Pag sinabing commercial, it involves trading activities. So, buying and selling of goods. Pag sinabing industrial, it means that pwede rin naman na business wherein related siya sa manufacturing. No? Bibili ng raw materials and then later transform it to finished goods which are ready for sale. Or for professional activities, ito naman related to business. Like for example, mga accounting firms, mga law firms. So these are service concern involving professional services. Business also refers to the organized efforts and activities to produce and sell goods and services. So basically for profit. So wala sigurong negosyante na mag-i-establish ng business na hindi aspiring or hindi naglalayon na magkaroon ng profit. So most of the businesses are established with the objective of increasing their wealth through earning profits. So bakit ba importante ang business sa isang country or isang economy ng country? So bakit siya importante? So we have 3 reasons why a business is important to a country's economy. So first, it provides goods and services. So we're in, ang magbe-benefit nito ay ang mga tao na bibili, gagamit ng mga goods and services na i-offer ng isang business. So can you just imagine the life ng isang lugar na walang business? So for sure, it's very tahimik As in tahimik and walang activity, walang business activity, walang economic activity. So, 'di ba, medyo mahirap. Like for example, kung sa isang lugar, sa lugar nyo, wala kang mapagbilhan ng asin, no? So, kung bibili ka ng asin, kailangan ka pang pumunta sa malayang lugar. Can you just imagine that, no? How life can be so miserable kung walang mga businesses na magpo-provide na sa atin ng goods and services that we will need. Another importance of business, no, in a country's economy is that it provides jobs. No? So, importante ito. Kung merong business, of course, malamang yung owner ay mag-hire ng kanyang mga tauhan. So, in that way, no, it can uplift the livelihood of the people living in that certain area na merong business kasi yung mga tao magkakaroon ng trabaho. And pag may trabaho, of course, may pera silang pambili no, ng kanilang pangangailangan din. So, thereby, parang ina-uplift no, yung standard of living ng businesses because it has provided jobs no, to the people. And then, lastly, businesses no, is or business is the government's primary source of revenue through taxes no, that are paid by the business to the government. So, 'di ba, ang tax, importante 'yan para maka-function yung government. Kasi wala namang gobyerno na makakapag-provide ng mga programa no, sa kanyang mga tao kung walang taxes. No, walang perang gagamitin para sa mga programa ng gobyerno. So let us now proceed to the relationship between business and the economy. So unang-una, sabi natin kanina, yung business ay nagpro-provide or nagpro-produce no, ng goods and services to the economy. So meaning, no, ang mga businesses, they produce goods and services para i-offer siya sa economy. No? So, nandito na yung mga tao, yung other businesses, no? So, ang ating sociedad or the entire country, no, as the case may be. Now, ito namang economy na to, no, which is composed of the people, the businesses, other businesses, will of course, kasi, di ba, bibili sila ng goods and services offered by the business. So, sila naman magbabayad for the goods and services. So, sa business, nagpo-provide ng goods and services, whereas ang economy, magbabayad. So, there is now cash inflow in the business. Dito sa baba naman, para sa business ay makapag-produce ng goods and services, kailangan niya ng mga kagamitan, no? We call it factors of productions. So, now, itong business na to, hahanap ng kanyang mga raw materials na kakailanganin, no, para may pambenta siya. So, the business will go to the economy, no? So, itong economy na to, or the people, the other businesses, will provide the factors of productions that is needed no, by the business in order to produce goods and services. And of course, in return, no, itong business na to, magbabayad for the factors of production provided by the economy. So, diba, it's only there is interconnection between the business and the economy. In one way, the business provides goods and services for the economy, but on the other hand, the economy naman provides the needed tools, the needed equipment, or what we call here the factors of production, so that the business can produce the services and goods na that they'll be providing to the economy. So talking about factors of production. So we have here the elements of a business system. So ibig sabihin, for a business to operate no, effectively and efficiently para ma-achieve niya yung objective niya na mag-produce ng goods and services para may balik sa kanya na profit, ito yung mga kinakailangan niya. So, unang-una, meron tayong land. So, itong land na to, hindi siya physical talaga na land lang, no, or lupa lang. But then, it refers to the materials na needed by the business enterprises in order to produce the goods and services na kanila i-offer sa mga tao. So, of course, for them to purchase the materials needed, kailangan nila ng capital or money. No? So, they'll need capital or money. So, 'di ba kapag mag-establish ng business, meron talagang pera na involved. And then, to convert no, the land, the materials, the capital, no, or the money into something which is saleable or ready for sale no, in the for the people, then the business will be needing labor or manpower. So, of course, kung walang tao or walang mga empleyado yung business, mahihirapan sila na mag-produce or mag-provide ng goods and services that they intend to, no, to the public. And then lastly, ito, nangangailangan ng entrepreneur. So, ano ba yung entrepreneur? Yung negosyante, no? So, the person who will be managing the affairs, no, of the business. And itong entrepreneur na ito, nangangailangan siya ng management skill. So, ibig sabihin, no, isa sa mga elements for a business really to become successful is the presence of an entrepreneur with a very good management skills. So, talking about management skills, no, why knowledge and skills in management important to business? Would you, can you guess kung bakit kailangan natin bilang isang entrepreneur na meron tayong skills, no, or knowledge and skills in management? So, it's very simple, no? As we have said kanina, the primary motive of engaging into business is to earn profit. So, in order to achieve this objective, an entrepreneur needs knowledge and skills in management. So, ibig sabihin, since kanina ang sabi natin, ang pinaka-motive ng business is to earn profit. So, we call that the profit motive. No, na in the first place, kaya nagnegosyo ang isang tao kasi gusto niyang kumita, no? Maka-earn ng profit. So, kailan ba magpa-profit ang business, no? When does a business earn a profit? So, ito, as accountants, as future accountants, we are very good at this, no? Computing profit. So, basically, that is income minus your expenses. So, profit, in vernacular, we term it as ginansya, no? So, that is yung sales mo or yung kita mo, i-deduct mo yung lahat ng nagastos mo. No? So, yun yung iyong net income or profit. Now, we term it as profit. Kaya importante ang management skills, no, para sa isang business or isang entrepreneur kasi nga for you to be able to achieve this, no, magka-profit ang business, dapat alam mo kung ano yung mga dapat gawin, no? Para ma-achieve mo ang kumita. Kasi yun naman talaga yung pinaka gusto mong mangyari sa business mo, no? Yung kumita ka. So, in management kasi, you are going to organize things na to make it work for your company. So, that is why it's very important in business. So, another thing, no? Another reason why mm, management is important in business is because of this. No, the business enterprise has different responsibilities to the different stakeholders of the business. So, sino ba ito mga stakeholders na to? So, ito yung mga tao or entity which has or meron silang interest, no, in the affairs of the business firm. Like, unahin na natin, no, yung owner. Ano ba yung responsibilidad ng business firm sa owner? So, yung owner kasi, depende yan, no, kung ano yung type of business that you have. So, for example, if this is a sole proprietorship and that owner hired a manager, to do the affairs of or to manage the affairs of the business. So, ibig sabihin, itong owner na to ay mangangailangan ng information, no? Gusto niya na itong business na to kikita, no? Kasi nga, that's his or their objective in putting up this business. So, responsibilidad ng management, no, or kung sino man ang namamalakad ng business firm na to, na magbigay ng profit sa kanyang owner. Another stakeholder is the workers. No? So, bakit ba, or ano bang responsibilidad ng business firm sa workers? So, yung workers, of course, no, magbibigay ng kanilang services to the business firm, and in return, the business firm will be giving salary, will be paying these workers their sweldo. So, importante na ma-manage, no, ng maayos ang business kasi nga, kailangan makabayad tayo sa ating mga workers. Kung hindi, baka mag-strike sila or baka hindi na sumupot, no, sa trabaho, which will cause problem to the business entity. So, also in relation to workers, dyan din papasok yung management skills, no, as to resources, maximizing the resources. So, take note class, kung ikaw business firm, hindi po pwedeng basta ka na lang mang-hire ng empleyado. Kasi you have to also to ensure that yung no, you have to take note that for every worker that you have, meron kang responsibilidad dyan. Like, for example, kung marami kang workers, it means that marami kang pagsasweldohin. Another is, aside from the sweldo, you also have to give benefits like SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig. So, may mga ganun. So, hindi pwedeng kasi feel mo magdagdag ng tao. So, hire ka ulit. So, you have also to consider that the business or your business is really capable of or is really needing na the services of the worker that you're hiring. Kasi nga, magastos yun on your part. Another stakeholder is the customer. No? So, ano naman yung responsibility ng business enterprise ay ang customer? So, si customer, gustong-gusto niya na yung business ay stable, no? The management, ang pagka-manage ng business ay maayos. Kasi the customer wants continuity of the provision of goods and services. So, kaya importante, no, para sa customer na maayos ang pagpapatakbo ng negosyo para naman siya tuloy-tuloy din ang kanyang pagkuha ng mga products and services or pag-avail ng mga products and services sa business firm. Another stakeholder is the supplier. So, ano naman yung responsibility ng business enterprise sa supplier? So, of course, itong supplier, gusto rin ito ng continuity of relationship with the business firm. Kasi nga, siya magsosupply ng mga kailangan ni business firm. So, in return, the responsibility of this enterprise is that dapat magbayad siya on time, no? Magbayad siya sa mga nautang niya kay supplier. And then another stakeholder is the government. So, government, of course, kasi itong gobyerno natin will serve as the parang supervisory, no? Supervision and regulation. So, hindi lang sa taxes, no? Merong obligasyon o responsibilidad si business firm sa government. Kung hindi rin, kasali na dapat yung kanyang negosyo ay legit, for example, and they're also doing their best na to give the best for the consuming public. Kasi pag hindi maayos na yung mga serbisyo or produkto na binibigay ng business firm, for sure, the government, being the regulatory body, will call their attention. So, responsibilidad ng business enterprise, unang-una, magbayad ng buwis and to ensure that they provide the best, no, possible goods and services to the public. Kasi nga, responsibilidad nila din iyon sa gobyerno since government will be calling their attention in case hindi nila nagawa ang kanilang responsibility. So, another is the community or the people or the consuming public. So, as we mentioned, no, itong community na to or itong public na to, itong mga tao na to, they are expecting that the business firm will give them the best products and services na that they can get. And take note, diba, yung mga tao ngayon, very wise na. Kasi, they would always weigh, no, quantity or quality of the product. No, when they buy goods, they're going to weigh if ito bang presyo na to ay suitable ba or reasonable ba sa quality na ibinigay ng firm no, or business firm sa produkto nila. So, they're already wise. No? The consuming public is very wise already in selecting their options in terms of products and services. So, dapat yung business firm maayos yung pagkaka-manage to ensure that they're able to provide quality products and services to the community. Another is labor union. No? This is another stakeholder in relation to the workers. Ano ba yung labor union? So, labor union, ito yung grupo no, ng isang business or isang company, grupo ng mga empleyado sa isang company, of which ang layunin ng labor union ay of course mapabuti ang kalagayan ng mga workers. So, labor union, for example, is responsible for collective bargaining agreement no, sa business firm. So, sometimes they demand for example, for increase no, in the salaries of the workers. So, it is also the responsibility of the business firm or the enterprise to respond no, to the clamor or to the request of the labor union so that, of course, we want to maintain harmonious na relationship para tuloy-tuloy lang yung business at walang problema. Then, the last stakeholder is the business association. So, ibig sabihin, ang mga business firm natin ay meron ding responsibility sa mga business association. Like, for example, if you're familiar with Tagum Cooperative, di ba, meron siyang federation ng co-op na which, no, this Tagum Cooperative is a member. So, parang ganun. Like, example, banks. Banks also has, meron silang association, na like for example, rural banks, meron silang association sa mga rural banks. Say for example, sa region ba or certain city. No? Ganon. So, depende on the industry or the type of industry that they're in. So, merong mga business association yan. So, ano ba yung responsibility ng business firm sa mga business association? So, of course, that they participate in the affairs. They pay the um, relevant, no, or applicable dues ba or fees that the association has imposed or no ini-impose sa mga member. Kasi kagandahan rin kapag mayroong business association ay napagtutulungan, no? So if there are concerns pressing, for example, the industry, then they can always no talked about it within this business association para maka-come up ng resolution. So in short, itong business association na to will be very helpful, no, para sa business firm to raise some concerns and to resolve some concerns na posibleng ma-face na ng mga business firm. So ayun, yun yung mga stakeholders ng mga businesses, their interests, no, their mga pangangailangan sa business firm, as well as ano ba yung mga responsibilities ng business firm sa mga stakeholders na to. Still under the topic of why do people engage in business? So sabi natin kanina, usually, no, we have this profit motive, no, that business or people engage into business because they want to earn a profit. But in this particular section, we can see, no, we'll have an overall picture of the other reasons, no, other possible reasons why people engage in business. So as you can see here, this is the hierarchy needs, hierarchy of needs by Abraham W. Maslow. So if you're familiar with the physiological needs, safety, social, self-esteem, and self-satisfaction or actualization. Okay, so let us discuss some other reasons, no, why people engage to business. So unang-una, dito sa baba, no, we have physiological or biological need. So the essentials for survival. So possible that a person would engage into business because not to earn a profit, for him to be able to sustain, no, supply his basic needs. So magnegosyo para merong pangkain, no, pambili ng food, shelter, clothing. So all of those essentials na for survival. The next, no, in the hierarchy is the safety need. So ibig sabihin, it is also possible that a person will engage into business because of his desire for security, stability, or protection against danger. So, ito kanina, parang survival lang. Ito, gusto mo naman na merong sobra kasi you want, no, na hindi lang para pangkain, but you also want to save, no, for security purposes, for stability. And gusto mo hindi ka mawalan, na that anytime that you'll need something, you can provide for it. No? Ganon. And then the third hierarchy is the social need. O, pwede pala na ang rason ng isang negosyante, bakit siya nag-engage into business, because gusto lang niya maging in, no? So, that may parang tinatawag na social need. Kasi they it is possible that that person no is longing or or needs no for to belong in a certain group, no, na gusto nilang ma-feel na they also belong to this group. So the sense of belongingness ay yung mga, for example, yung mga kabatch niya ay mga businessman, no, for example. So, sige, engage na lang ako sa business para maging in, hindi parang dili ma-OP ba? No? So, so seeking for affection, love, and friendship, parang approval of the society kasi nga ayan, negosyante siya. So, parang masikat. No? So, ganun. Social need, the need for to feel na that sense of belongingness and acceptance sa mga tao. And then next is the ego or self-esteem need. So the need for self-recognition or group satisfaction. So parang ano siya no gusto mong ma-recognize. So you engage into business parang kanina no that you want to feel that you belong. Ito naman, you want to prove yourself that um, eto, meron akong business and you want to also to tell, no? Para bang ma-recognize ka nga, ayan, negosyante. So, parang mas titingalain ka na sa society. So, yan, there's a need for self-recognition or group satisfaction. That is why you are engaging into business. Lastly naman, itong self-fulfillment need. No? So, it is possible that you engage into business because you want to realize your personal goal or ambition. Like, for example, di ba, merong mga doctor na or dentist na gustong mag-bake. So, they put up a business na wherein um, they can still bake. So, meaning parang merong extra na hindi naman talaga para sa profit, but it's more of they're happy in what they are doing. So, they put up this business because mahilig silang magluto. So, meron siyang restaurant, for example. So, meron siyang bakery kasi mahilig siyang bake. So, things like that, no? Or pwede rin naman na gusto-gusto mo talaga na makatulong sa other people. So, you are putting up a business in order to realize that personal goal of yours na. So, which is very noble no, in that case. Helping others. So, let us now proceed to the kinds of business. Na. So, I already talked about this earlier. There are three kinds of business. One is industry or better known as manufacturing concern. Second is commerce or trading or merchandising concern. And the last one is services enterprises, which is divided into four categories. Those that are involved in public and community service. Next is a professional or trade service, recreation service, and personal service. The first kind of business is industry or manufacturing concern. So as you can see in this picture, no, this is a factory. So we're in yung mga tela na yan ay gagawin nila into finished product. So that's manufacturing concern. So what this kind of business do? So they are going to transform. No, they purchase raw materials and then they are going to transform them into finished goods. So after that, they are going to sell them in the market. The next kind of business is commerce or better known as trading concern or merchandising concern. So as an example of that is a grocery store, as you can see here. So, ano bang ginagawa ng trading or merchandising concern, no? So what they do is they buy goods and then sell them, no? Kasi they are buying and selling goods which are already ready for sale. So they don't do anything about the product. They just buy it and then sell it at a profit. Lastly, we have the service enterprises. Na, so as I've said kanina, they are classified into four. So one is public or community service. So example yan ay yung mga public utility bus or yung mga airplane. No? So they provide transport services, for example, na to the community. Another classification of service is yung professional or trade service. So, example natin dito is yung SGB. So, if you're familiar with SGB, that's Sisip Gores and Velayo. This is one of the largest accounting firms in the Philippines. No? So, what they do is they provide auditing, no? Yung mga attestation services. Pwede rin bookkeeping or for SGB, they're more into external auditing. So, they are going to examine financial statements and then issue opinion on how the management prepared their financial statements. So, again, this is an example of professional or trade service. Yung providing professional services na to the public. Pwede ring mga law firms, for example. That's also an example of professional or trade service. Next is the recreation service. So, we have here an example. Yan, yung mga parks, no? Mga amusement parks. Like, in this case, Eden Nature Park, for example, they have mga recreational services, no? Hadlok-hadlok ka, tapos mabayad ka. So, nana sila mangorta, nang hadlukon ka, gusto po ta magpahadlok, mo nang mabayad po ta, no? Magsagit-sagit dayon ta pagabot sa taas. So, pwede po, no? Another example is kanang sa mga peryahan, no? Kasi nakaadto na mo og Enchanted Kingdom or no? Things like that. Mga companies that are offering recreational services. Okay? And the last one is personal service. So, example natin dito, ayan, no? Hair salon, mga parlor, mga spa. In this case, Lea Revita is a personal service, no? Magpa-cut ng hair, for example, magpa-manicure, magpa-pedicure. So, that's personal. So, the next thing that we have to discuss is about the kinds of economic system. So, why is it important? Because, of course, you have to know the kind of environment na that the company, the business is operating. So, you have to know kung anong klaseng economic system ba mayroon, no, ang bansa or lugar kung saan nag-ooperate ang isang business. Okay? So, there are three kinds of economic system. One is capitalism, second is socialism, and the third one is communism. Sorry for that. So, the first kind of economic system is capitalism. So, what is capitalism? It's a system in which the means of production are owned and operated by private individuals. And it is a system of economic organization wherein privately owned capital and property rights are privately invested with the ultimate aim of personal gain. So, in short class, no, dito sa capitalism, the private individuals no, own or control no, the means of production in a certain country. So, usually, here in the Philippines, for example, no, wherein hindi lahat ng mga ownership or yung mga key no, na mga factors para makaproduce ang isang entity ay hindi pag-aari ng gobyerno. Kung hindi, pag-aari siya ng individual na mga or private na mga individuals. Another example of a country applying capitalism is USA. So doon, no, it's more of controlled by private individuals. The next is socialism. So itong socialism, it's an economic system in which the production and distribution of goods are controlled substantially by the government rather than private enterprise, and in which cooperation rather than competition guides economic activity. So dito, hindi na kontrolado, no? So at a certain point, the government controls, no, the substantially the production as well as the distribution of goods. So malaki ang papel ng gobyerno. No? So some examples, if you're going to browse it in the internet, yung mga examples na binibigay niya ay China, for example, at some point, no? Kasi nga, they are controlled, no? Majority of their production and distribution of goods are controlled by the government. So the last kind of economic system is communism. So it is a system of organization in which all social and economic activities are controlled, no, by an authoritarian government. So kung kanina sa socialism, only substantial, no, na production and distribution of goods is controlled by the government. Dito sa communism, as in lahat ng social and economic activities are controlled by the government. So if you're going to browse the net, there's just a slight, no, a thin differentiation between socialism and communism. So if you're going to look at the internet, pag tinype mo or nag-search ka ng examples ng countries, no, applying communism, so usually ang ibibigay sa iyo ng mga pangalan ng countries ay yun pa rin, yung China, for example, or North Korea, no, na nag-apply ng communism. So basically, ang kaibahan ng tatlo ay nasa degree of control, no, ng gobyerno. So sa capitalism, the control, no, of the production and distribution of goods is mas malaking porsyento nasa private individuals. Sa socialism, it's more of the government but not total, no? Only substantial control. Whereas in communism, as in lahat na ay kontrolado ng gobyerno. Of course, there are pros and cons, no, in this different types of economic entity or economic system. So the next thing that we have to discuss is about the criteria in classifying phases of economic development. So there are three, no? Pag sinabi nating economic development, ano bang nangyari, no? The time that nag-start yung mga economic activities, no? How far have we gone? So there are three criteria in classifying the phases of economic development. Unang-una, no, it could be classified as a means of livelihood. Second, the extent of the economic activity. And the third one is anong gamit yung medium of exchange. So, yung letter A, the means of livelihood, ito yung phases ng economic development. So, unang-una, nag-start ang mga tao ng hunting and fishing phase, no? So, dito, the people will just hunt or, no, fish, no, for their food. So, makakasurvive sila by just hunting and fishing. The next development in terms of livelihood ay nauso naman yung pastoral phase, no? So dito, ang mga tao ay nagpapastol, no? Nagpapastol ng mga baka, mga lamb, no, or sheep. So ito naman yung pinagkakabuhayan, no, ng mga tao. The third phase is the handicraft phase. So dito, natutong gumawa ng mga handicrafts, no, ang mga tao. So in this case, is it banig or habol? No, what are they weaving? So, but the point is, there is a time wherein natutunang gumawa ng mga produkto ang mga tao. The fourth phase is agricultural, no? So, natutong magtanim ang mga tao as their means of livelihood. And the last one is the industrial phase. Diyan na uso na itong mga planta, yung mga manufacturing plant, no? Na dito naman, or ito naman yung pinanggagalingan ng pangkabuhayan ng mga tao. So that is the phases of economic development as based on the means of livelihood classification or criteria. So the next criterion, no, of classifying the phases of economic development is the extent of economic activity. So we have here first the household economy. So here, the needs of the family were satisfied first na through the contributions of the family members. So meaning, no, budgeting ng family, no. So magko-contribute lahat ng mga members of the family na meron ng income. So budget pang kain, no, pang school, all of this. So minamanage siya within a household lang. Number 2, the village economy. Ito naman, economic and social relations spread among various families na nakatira sa isang village. So, mas malaki na yung scope or coverage niya. Pag sinabing national economy, of course, it has something to do with the country as a whole. No? Mas bigger and broader na social relations. So, this time, hindi na lang isang village, but you're considering already a country. Etong international economy naman, mas malaki ang sakop nito or scope. No, kasi you are talking about not only one country, but countries all over the world. So, that's international economy. So, the last criteria, no, in classifying the phases of economic development is the medium of exchange. So, ano bang nangyari, no? Ano ba yung development in terms of the medium of exchange? So, unang-una, usong-uso noon or walang pera noon, no? So, what they do is, we have this barter economy. So, during the primitive era, exchange was done, which was the direct exchange of goods for goods, services for services, or goods for services, or services for goods. So, di ba nauso ulit yung barter ngayon? So, doong unang panahon, yun yung ginagawa. Walang pera, walang money involved. So, they'll just exchange their goods, no, from one person to another. Yung sunod naman, yung second development is nauso yung pera, no? So, they use now money, no? So, nag-circulate na yung pera in the market. So, una, wala pang pera, but nag-start siya with precious metals, no? Pwedeng buttons, tools, utensils, no? So, which are stable in value, durable, and generally accepted by the public. And doon yun, now, we have already money as our medium of exchange. So, we buy goods, no? In exchange of goods and services, we pay money. So, the last phase, no, phase of the economic development is etong money and credit economy. So, due to increase in volume and frequency, it became imperative to allow others to purchase one's goods or services with payments to be paid at some future date. So, bigyan ka na ng goods and services ngayon, tapos magbabayad ka in the future date pa. So, dyan nun, papasok yung utang. So, utang lipay-lipay, hopefully dili likay-likay pag bayad na because that is really an obligation. So, nauso, no? Nauso ang mga credit card, for example, that um, um, you are allowed to purchase now, and then the credit card company will pay it for you. And then after that, they'll be collecting you na in some future date based on your due date. Then we proceed to another important topic, na, which is the legal forms of business ownership. So here in the Philippines, we have four legal forms of business ownership. One is proprietorship. It is where the owner, there's only one owner. No? It's the sole owner that we call the proprietor of the business. Then next is the partnership. Pag sinabing partnership, two or more persons who combine their money, property, or industry to a common fund. So, nag-contribute sila for the purpose of doing business and ultimately to divide the profits among themselves. Then, the third one is corporation. So, itong corporation, this is an artificial being operated by law with the rights of succession, the powers, attributes, and properties expressly authorized by law or incidents to its existence. So, itong corporation, ito malaki-laking business na ito, wherein ang mga owners ay tinatawag na shareholders or stockholders. And lastly, itong cooperative, no? So, ano ba yung cooperative? Yung cooperative, para siyang setup ng corporation, na merong board of directors. Kaso lang, ang kaibahan ng dalawa, when you say cooperative, it's a one-man vote. So, just like corporations, a cooperative na e-elect sila ng board of directors who will be running the affairs of the cooperative, no? Just like the corporation. However, ang kaibahan sa cooperative, hindi siya magbe-base sa number or sa laki ng amount na iyong capital na iyong kinontribute, no? Or binili na stocks or shares ng cooperative. Kasi kahit magkano ang iyong investment sa cooperative, pwede ka lang bumoto or you only have one vote, no? One voting right. Hindi kagaya ng corporation na pag ikaw ang pinakamalaking stockholder, malamang ikaw rin yung magiging member ng board of director. Kasi sa corporation, magdedepende ang voting rights mo sa dami or sa laki ng iyong investment. So, the bigger the investment, the larger also your voting rights. No? Mas marami kang voting rights. So, malamang, kung malaki ang investment mo, you'll be voting for yourself. No? Of course, para ikaw na yung isa sa magmamanage ng business. So, ito yung mga apat na legal forms of business ownership in the Philippines. So, dito isa-isahin natin. No? So, firstly, ano ba yung advantages and disadvantages ng sole proprietorship? So, pag sole proprietorship, kasi isa lang yung owner ng business, ang advantage niya, it's very easy to set up. No? Mas madali siyang i-set up, meaning mas madali siyang i-establish. And then, the decision making is entirely left to the owner. So, wala kang ibang kailangang i-consider kasi ikaw lang mag-isa, no? You're all by yourself. So, you make your decision alone. Ano naman yung disadvantage niya? So, ang disadvantage naman niya ay it will demand no the owner's personal time. So, kailangan pag sole proprietorship, so you devote your time in your business kasi nga kung maliit lang ang business, so dapat matutukan mo. Pag hindi mo natutukan, baka hindi mo alam, um, may mga milagro nang nangyayari and one day, no, baka magising ka na lang na bankrupt na yung business mo. Another disadvantage is that it has limited growth, no, kasi um, owner lang, isang tao lang yung paggagalingan ng financial means. Next, we proceed to partnership naman. So, for a partnership, it's relatively easy to set up as compared or than compared to a corporation. And it has check and balance, no? Kasi it will be maintained by at least two parties. So, there's a check and balance kasi, di ba sabi nila, two heads are better than one. Kaso lang, ang disadvantage ng partnership ay madali siyang ma-dissolve. Kasi, pag merong changes in the ownership, like for example, yung isang partner namatay, no? So, magde-dissolve agad yung partnership. So, or for example, may bagong member na pinasali sa partnership, the old partnership will be dissolved and it will be replaced by a new partnership. So, madali siyang ma-dissolve. And then, another disadvantage is the equal profit sharing despite unequal attention and time given by partners to business. So, ito naman, it will depend also on the agreement of the parties. No? So, although there is still no possibility na baka nga no hati kayo pero yung effort na inexert ng partner ay hindi pantay na like for example baka panggalingan pa ng away no that bakit the same lang yung profit sharing na mas malaki man yung contribute in terms of industry ng partner na ito. So that could be a cause of conflict between partners. So next naman is yung corporation. So ano ba yung advantages ng corporation? So there is flexibility. There is what you call limited liability of the owners. Kasi nga, dito sa corporation, kung magkano lang yung kinontribute mo, yun lang din yung um, pwedeng makuha sa'yo, no? By the creditors in case mag-file ng bankruptcy ang corporation. So, kasi ang corporation, malaking company, there's a greater room for professionalism. And then, the solution is likely to occur, least likely to occur, kasi dito sa corporation, you can just transfer shares no, without affecting the business no, or the operations of the corporation. And it can involve a wide range of people in business, including employees. There's also a reduced tax burden on owners. Kasi corporation, in our old law, is only taxed 30%. No? Our corporation is only taxed 30%. So if you are, for example, a sole proprietorship, tapos malaki yung kita mo, malaki yung profit mo, so baka mapunta ka sa higher na bracket. Kasi sa Philippines, pag malaki yung iyong profit, malaki yung income mo, malamang malaki yung babayaran mo na tax. What about the disadvantages? So, ang disadvantage lang ng corporation ay complicated siyang i-set up. No? Kasi you still have to go through the process of registering your corporation in the SEC, for example. So, medyo matagal-tagal and medyo komplikado yung pag-set up ng isang corporation or pag-establish ng isang corporation. Second is limited influence on management by stockholders. Ito, kasi, 'di ba, itong corporation, kasi malaking business na to, meron silang tinalagang mga tao who will be managed, no, by certain people. So, ang disadvantage lang, kasi yung mga stockholders, hindi basta-basta, of course, maka-influence or maka-say something, um, impose, no, na mga gusto nilang mangyari. Kasi nga, yun ay binigay na, no, na responsibility, na task sa mga board of directors. So, kung ikaw, stockholder ka or owner ka ng corporation na hindi naman masyadong malaki yung investment, so what you have to do is you just wait, no, for what their board of directors, or what will be their decision, for example, or policies that they'll be implementing or imposing na for the corporation. And there's a tendency to institutionalize bureaucracy. Yun na nga, because of the presence of uh, board of directors. So they need, or a corporation needs to elect, board of directors. And of course, that will be elected by the stockholders. So, punta tayo sa positive value of a Filipino entrepreneur. So, bakit ba ang mga Pinoy, no, mga negosyante kayo? So, here are some of the positive values of a Filipino entrepreneur. Although, some of this, no, I must say na personally, pakaigon ko nga, dili unta ni siya appeal. Pero, anyway, the author of the book, no, included it here. So, first is pakikipagkapwa tao or human relation. So, ang mga Pinoy, no, very very good, no, in terms of interpersonal skills. Grabe ka, iyo ka maka abi-abi o mga tao. So, that's a very good value, no, or that's a plus points for an entrepreneur. Kasi the more that you can connect to people, it means that you can have a better or bigger possible scope na in terms of customers. Then second is bahala na. I don't really think that this is a positive value, but somehow, no, let fate decide the outcome. So, bahala na lang. So, maybe we can just attribute this for the positive thinking of Filipino entrepreneur, that we just face whatever, no, we just accept, no, and face whatever challenges, whatever mga struggles that will come along. So, parang in that sense, it becomes positive. And the third one, pakikipagsapalaran or risk-taking. So, Filipinos, if you are entrepreneur, actually you are really taking a risk. Na you're taking risk in investing your money. So, of course, we know that if you don't take the risk, then you would not know if you would succeed in that. So, that is a very good value of a Filipino entrepreneur. Next, number 4, I don't agree with this, no? Gaya-gaya or imitation. Kasi, although, paano ba natin siya positive, no, sa Philippine entrepreneur? So, siguro kasi, mahilig manggaya. Like, for example, nakita ng isang Pinoy na merong ganito sa ganitong lugar. Like, for example, bakit doon sa Tago merong night market? So, anong gagawin ng isang mabuti entrepreneur? Sige nga, gayahin nga natin. No? So, we imitate best practices. Kasi, sabi nila, mas madaling manggaya kasi ang term is benchmark, no? So, mas okay kung mag-benchmark ka sa mga best practices para mas ma-ensure mo yung success ng iyong business. Kasi meron kang pattern, no? Or meron kang nag-benchmark ka into what you consider as the best in the field. The number 5, utang na loob, hiya, awa, or bayanihan. So, the debt of gratitude, shyness, compassion, unity. No? So, this value of a Philippine entrepreneur would, parang it will make him more humble, no? That um, we always look into, or we always think of the things that are done to us by other people, and that is why we also repay it, no? We repay it um, during the time na tayo naman yung may chance na makatulong sa iba. Next is kasipagan, or being industrious. So that's a very good value of a Philippine entrepreneur. So pag masipag, then most probably magsasucceed in life. So pagtitipid, so being wise spenders and savers, no, kuripot, para um, as much as possible, we don't want to spend the things that are not useful, and um, yun, no, para dili masigas to. Next is pagtitiis or enduring, no, bisag nasakitan na, char, mura po gugmada. So, we are enduring, no? So, we always, siguro because we always think of the positive side, and that we always think that this too shall pass, and that is why we have that um, enduring, no, na attitude. And then next is pagtitimpi or self-control. At some point, we can control ourselves, no, yung mga Filipino entrepreneur, para hindi na makakwas ng away, for example, or whatever is that, no, na we try to calm down ourselves. And then lastly, katapatan or honesty. So, pagiging tapat all of the time. So, lastly, ito yung mga social and economic contributions of entrepreneur, no, to the country. Although I already discussed some of this, no, in our previous slide. So, ano ba yung contributions ng isang entrepreneur, no, para maengganyo kayo na maging businessman din? So, unang-una, it creates employment. Entrepreneurship creates employment. So, kung meron kang negosyo, malamang mag-hire ka ng mga tao. So, meron, nakatulong ka, no, para sa kaunlaran ng pangkabuhayan ng mga tao. Second is it improves the quality of life. So, not only to your workers, but also to the community, the people, the public, who will be consuming your goods and services. So somehow you're able to improve their lives, no, with your products and services. And then lastly, no, it contributes to more equitable distribution of income taxes, and therefore eases social unrest. So ibig sabihin, because of business kasi, no, government can collect taxes. And with those taxes, no, gagawa ng programa ang gobyerno para naman ma-extend ang help, no, sa mga tao nga na nangangailangan. And okay, so that will be all. Thank you so much for listening. I hope, no, you're able to grasp the concept of this lesson 1, business and management concepts. Thank you. Bye.